That's an excellent question. Why do we shoot our arrows like this? Well, I shoot them that way for two reasons. One, to get you to ask that question. It's weird, it's wacky, it's flashy. If I'm on the 3D course, if I'm making a video on TikTok, if I'm on Facebook, if I'm on whatever, you're going to see that and go, what the crap? And now I have another reason to talk to you, and then maybe that spurs into being able to talk to you about my archer organization or whatever that way. I like to talk, so talking point. Now, the archery reason, the shooting reason behind it. The front one feeds the middle one, which feeds the back one, putting a tighter spin on this arrow, causing it to have a tighter spiral. Just like a quarterback, the tighter spiral you can throw, the less wind drift you can get. So, whenever I'm shooting this arrow, it's a micro shaft arrow with a drunk fletch. That's what we call this, is drunk fletch. I'll explain that in a minute. I will be shooting at long distance or even close distance if the wind is high enough. Everybody else on the 3D range is going, man, I got to hold on the butt of this goat to be able to hit it in the score rings because my arrows just got so much drift. I'm hitting where I want to hold. All I have to worry about is how much is the wind pushing on me. So I just need to figure out where I need to hold, not, okay, I need to hold into the wind 6, 8, 10, 3 feet. So I don't have to worry about that as much. And that, yes, gives me an advantage on the 3D range on a high wind day. It also gives me an advantage in the woods. If I'm hunting on a high wind day, everybody else, man, it's a high wind. I just can't shoot past 20 yards today. I'm still hunting out to 30 and 40 yards because I have drunk fletch. Now, why do we call it drunk fletch? Because, again, people look at that and go, dude, I've never been that drunk fletching arrows. What is wrong with you? And that's why I shoot them. One, to be able to talk to you, and two, I feel like it gives me an advantage. Okay, so when it comes to the drunk fletch, we didn't invent this. We kind of discovered it, and my dad's the one who did that, so I'll let him tell you.
How did we discover the drunk fletch? Well, Colton was pretty young at the time, and he wasn't there. I was at Jasper, Texas, at a charity event that was down there. And I walked up to, because we were sponsored at the time by Bowtech, I walked up to the Bowtech rep. He had a cobbled up looking bow. Part of it was competition, part of it was hunting, and it was all mixed together, and every color on his string was different, and he had his arrows fletched like this. So I asked him why. He said, I do all that to make people talk to me, ask questions, sales point. He said, however, that NASA is what showed them aerodynamically that if you fletched an arrow like this, that one, it was like breaking up the sail. The sail no longer had a good pocket to hold wind, so therefore the wind couldn't push on it as fast, and because it was spinning faster, that it couldn't push on it as hard. That was what he told me. I have an associate's degree in engineering, so I thought he was full of it too. But I'm the type of guy when it comes to archery, hey, you gonna tell me something that sounds corny, I gotta give it a try. So I did. With CXL 150s off of a 50-pound bow, an extreme VFT, I believe is what I was shooting back then. I had one, CXL 150, cut down extremely short, all that good stuff. Anyway, had them weighing 250 grains so that I could shoot them out of that 50-pound bow at IBO speeds. And that the CXL 150 was what was considered to be a fat shaft back then. Anyhow, we went to Kansas a couple of weeks after I had fletched my arrows this way. I couldn't tell a difference in one arrow or the other to that point. First shot that I pulled up on the practice bags in approximately a 25 to 30 mile an hour crosswind that was pretty steady. My first shot at 50 yards almost missed the bag. I pulled out a drunk fletched one just to see, because that's what the Bowtech rep had told me, so that's the only time you were truly ever going to notice a difference. I shot the CXL 150 and only drifted half as far. Then I had a buddy come over and hold an umbrella to see if, well, those two could hit different because the wind is pushing on me. I got behind the umbrella and could get pretty steady. I wound up grouping all of my conventional fletch CXL 150s at 50 yards on the edge of the bag. I think one of them missed, but it was right there at the edge of the bag. All of the drunk fletch ones grouped at about half that distance. Later on, when we went to smaller shaft diameters. Colton and I both, when he was older, he doesn't remember a time I haven't shot like this. And we shot 70 yards in a crosswind, it didn't drift.
So I have 2 fletching jigs that I can do a drunk fletch with. And I will do my best to show you those as best I can. I do not have a cameraman right now, so I'm going to do my best to do this by myself. First is the Arizona Fletcher. This little Fletcher right here allows you to fletch all 3 at once, and what I do is, as you can see, this one's already on there because this is a arrow that I am refletching. But you would put this fletching all the way at the bottom. There it is. Then you would go around, and what we do is we cut a fletching in half and use it as a spacer, and then we can put the next fletching on that. And then after that, we have a full fletching as a spacer, and then we have that. Now, this is my dad's, so he does a quarter of a fletch and a half a fletch. He doesn't like his staggered as much as I do, but that's how you do it on Arizona Fletcher. You'd glue all that up, close it up, lock it down, and put your cap on it. I only have one hand, so I'm not doing that right now, and there's no glue on these, so I'm not messing up an arrow. Then there is the dial-o fletch, the old school. Now, this one is fully fletched, so I'm just showing you how it works fully fletched. You can clamp your fletching into there, put your glue on it. That's magnetized. You stick it on there, you let it dry. Once that one is dry on your bottom one, that is, there goes the other one. That is all the way at the bottom. You get your measurement, go halfway, which would be to that mark there, and you put your next fletching in. Rotate to the next fletching. Put your next fletching in there, stick it in there, glue it. Once it's dry, you pull it out, rotate again. If it'll rotate. Fletching's on there, so it's sticky. And then the last one, you go a full fletch distance, which is, come on, focus, right there. And that is how you fletch a drunk fletch. 2 different methods there. At least that's how I do it. Guys, I hope that helped you out for those of y'all asking how I build these arrows and whatnot that way. I do a half a fletch distance between each fletching. My dad does a quarter of an inch or a quarter of a fletch distance between each fletching. And one of my staff members, he only does a quarter of an inch between each fletching because he doesn't like them staggered very much at all. I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope that gets you where you need to be. All right, guys, we're up here near Cherokee, Oklahoma on our family hunting trip. We've got wide open spaces, and we've got some wind today, so let's do the drunk fletch testing. I'm going to use this trailer as a wind block for me because the wind's out of the west. Got a deer target set up at 40 yards. I put a bag on its head so that way y'all can even see the wind blowing. According to the Weather Channel app, we're going to have between 15 to 25 mile an hour winds with gusts going up higher than that. And frankly, I'm going to try and shoot during the gusts. That way I have as much gusting wind as possible. What we're going to do is we're going to shoot the drunk fletch first, and then we're going to shoot the standard fletch and see which one drifts more on the deer. Alright guys, there you go. There's the after shooting results. As you can see, the drunk fletch, I was straight low. I bobbled just a hair on my shot. we was aiming at this crossbow bolt here just so I had a dot to aim at. This one, guys, exclude that one from the results kind of, because I'll admit I punched that shot and pulled high, but this one I felt like I made a good smooth shot. And the other thing I'd like to note is you can see that drunk fletch went into the target pretty straight, and those are one's going this way and one's going this way. Give you so in the wind, there you go. There's my results from my testing. So this is the drunk fletch, and we're going to be shooting at 60 yards in slow motion here with my phone, best I can do. I don't have all the other stuff. But for everyone asking, does it fly straight? Does it fly straight? Oh yeah, she flies straight. You can see it just fine right there. Here it is, and whop, straight as an arrow. So I've been getting this question a lot, and I don't have a good answer for you because I haven't tested a lot out of a crossbow. I just got a crossbow this year, and 1 year isn't a lot of time to do good, rigorous testing on this, and I haven't had a good, strong day of wind to go and shoot the crossbow and see the difference. I would assume so, but at the same time, crossbows, they're different. Like I said, I assume so, but I can't give you a solid answer, yes or no. I don't have enough testing to be able to give a yes or no answer. All right, guys, so I just did my first round of drunk fletch testing. As you can tell, there's still no wind to prove what I say is true, that it helps with wind drift. However, I did get some other comments, and I got an idea to do a test that, frankly, I hadn't thought to see about this or test it. Some other guys that had shot this type of fletch before, they also said that, you know what, it's also quieter standing down range. So I thought, hey, that's a test I can run, and we're having calm days, so it ought to be able to hear it very well. So I did that video. I was shooting at 60 yards. I shot these arrows. I had the first two shots that you'll hear will be the standard fletch, and then the last one is the third fletch. I already did the video. I already watched the results before filming this, and my opinion on it is I don't think there's enough of a difference to really say that there's a difference. At least I don't think there's enough of a difference that it's going to make a difference to the deer downrange. However, me, my dad, and my sister-in-law was all watching the video, and we all kind of agreed that it sounded like that third one was a little bit quieter, which was the drunk fletch. But all of us kind of said the same thing. We don't think that little bit is going to make a difference downrange to the deer. So what you're looking for, whether it's a right hand or left hand twist, these are right hand twists, so they're going that way. You want your back fletching to be turning towards that one, and that one to be turning towards that one. So if that's a left hand fletch, you would go that way around the arrow. So that, I hope that kind of explained that as best as I could. If you got a right hand helical, you want it to twist into the next fletching when you're looking at the knock point going forward. What that is whenever the arrow is flying that way, this one is rotating into that one, which rotates into this one. And that's how you get that extra spin out of there. So I've been getting this question a lot, so I thought I'd do a video reply. I have not had an issue with drop away rest with my drunk fletch, it being staggered. And Now, I'm doing it primarily with a blazer with the 2-inch fletch, so whenever I stagger it, it's no different than having a 4-inch fletch. And people shoot 4-inch fletchings all the time with a drop away and have no problem with it. If you started doing it with a 3-inch fletch and started doing a full half-inch or a full half a vein stagger like I do with my blazers, now you're getting into having a 6-inch vein, and good Lord, if you did it with a four fletch, doing half a fletching space, I've never seen anybody do that. But yeah, that kind of stuff could cause a problem. But as long as you're doing it with a 2-inch fletch or smaller, I've never seen a problem because you're not getting more than 4 inches.
Drunk fletch versus the 5-inch aggressive helical.
So I've been doodling through this idea just to make sure I got the right idea here. So basically there's a 5-inch fletched arrow and a 3-inch fletched drunk fletching pattern arrow. Now, the idea is, does this arrow perform more efficient or about the same? And I expect about the same for a few reasons, but there's a little catch. Think about it this way. Each of these fletchings look like this. And how a fletching works is basically the air's moving over. This air has to travel faster than this air to get to the same point over here. This causes a low pressure on the top through Bernoulli's principle. There we go. Therefore, pulling the fletching up. And there's nowhere for that fletching to go up. It's going to more rotate. So think of it as getting pulled straight up, but it's constantly turning because that is as up as it can get. But what we have here is 3 fletchings that maybe they're interrupting each other's airflow with being stacked like this. And maybe the drunk fletching pattern would allow clean airflow on these sides that it's rotating towards. So I'm considering which way would be better for this arrow to go counterclockwise or clockwise, because there's potential benefits of it possibly allowing better rotation, more stability, or a quieter arrow flight. But the one thing I do know for sure is this setup looks the same as this setup down the arrow, and it's allowing the same practical use with 3-inch fletchings instead of having to use 5 inches all the way down.